Hey everybody, what's going on? This is your girl Missing Little Cool coming to you with another video on YouTube and some new content on Spreaker.com. Yes, I've been away, but now your girl is back. And today I'm going to give you a review of Season 7, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta season premiere episode. So let's get right into it. So I want to say this. I feel as though this episode was okay, but it could have been more spicier. You understand? And it's not a jab at Spice because she's not a cast member, but she's a supporting cast member this season. But I'm going to say something, but nothing against her. But I'm going to talk about my feelings of this episode at the end of this season, at the end of this video, as to why I feel that it could have been better. So let's get right into it. So the season premiere episode opens up with Spice performing on stage. And the first people that we see talking is Rashida. And I think that's very important because she was the last person to speak at the season finale episode of season 6. I thought that was important because her storyline last year was the one that had the most substance and it was the most poignant. So we're continuing with the situation between Rashida Kirk and Jasmine with the paternity. At that point, she doesn't know what the results are, but she's pretty much hoping that Kirk is not the father. She's just hoping that he's not the father. Now, the public, we saw, the blogs on Gossip, TMZ, and it was always like whispers that, he's the father. But they weren't going to reveal those results until next year. It was more like a cliffhanger. Like, I knew they weren't going to talk about it until this season. So she's talking about, how she wants to put everything in the past from last year and how she just wants to enjoy the night with her girls, including Mimi, Carly Red, Jessica Dime, Sierra. And they're having fun at the Spice concert. Now, Carly Red talks about how Spice is like this big international dancehall artist. And when she comes to Atlanta, the whole West Indian community comes out in droves. And I thought that was important for Carly Red to mention because I personally feel as though we as Black Americans, we got to start doing that. I'm a multi-ethnic Black person, but I identify as being Black American, not because I was born here, but because my mom is Black American. And I feel as though I see it. We're not supporting each other. Everybody else is except for us. And that's something that needs to change, especially with what's going on in this country. Best believe. So with that said, we see the girls hanging out and Mimi is there and we see that she's introducing Ty, her new girlfriend. Now, Ty is a WNBA player. Which team she plays for, I have no idea because I don't follow the WNBA. But I have seen her, not just in uniform, but I've also seen her for years with Mimi in footage, videos, and also in pictures. Now, I'm going to say something that a lot of people may not know. This girl, Ty, and Mimi, they've been serious for a while. I would say at least 2 years. Them other 2 relationships on Love and Hip Hop last year with the girl Chris, who now goes as a man, and Melissa, who identifies as a woman, I believe those 2 relationships was contrived for the show. But this girl Ty was around back in 2016. Even when the season 5 episode premiered, when we saw Chris and Mimi go into the go-kart place. They are in a her and Ty has been in a relationship for a while. That is a real relationship. If you look at the photos, you could tell. Chris and her, that was for show. Melissa, there wasn't even any substance to it. So it was fake. But Mimi says she's happily in love. She's very serious with Ty. Ty is serious also. Now, I have to point out something, though, and I'm going to keep it real. I did research on Ty. The age difference between Mimi and Ty is extremely significant. Ty is 15 years younger than Mimi. Mimi could be her mother. That's my only situation with Mimi I don't like. Is that she dates these younger people that's old enough to be her child. Melissa and her were close in age. Melissa just looked young. Chris was about, I would say, 13 years younger than her. Stevie J is younger than her by a year. She really likes younger people. Her friends are younger. She likes to be either the oldest person in the room or she just likes to be with young people. But damn, 15 years younger, damn, you could be her mama. I was like, oh no, girl, this is crazy. Like, I thought Ty was about at least 40 years old. When I saw that shit, I was like, girl, I'm done. So she's saying that she's really happy, especially because of the fact that the princess is no longer here, but she's still buzzing around. But in other words, the fact that they ain't going to be on the show with her is a pleasure because they've been waiting for this moment. And it's not just me. They all have. So after that, we see Dom. She discusses her upcoming wedding with Sean, the basketball player. He plays, I believe, for the Minnesota Timberwolves. That relationship is one of the best I've ever seen on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. I think it's very sincere, and I think that marriage is going to last. I really do. And I have to say that Dime, who says that she's looking forward to the wedding and she wants it to be a destination wedding, has evolved more than any of the characters on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. She has done the most evolving because when she came to Atlanta in season 4, she was formerly a stripper. She had did her last striptease before she came to Atlanta. She was hooking up with Mimi and Stevie J to work on music and for Mimi to manage her. And then she was going to parlay that into a successful career. She was doing all these moves. And even though that kind of fell off, she still was on her grind with the music. And then she and Mimi became cool. And now they're friends. Also, too, season 5, you saw her just as a friend of the show. But season 6, you saw where they actually took her serious with the relationship with Sean. And they had been dating for some time before we saw him as her boyfriend. Then, towards the end of last year, she became the fiance. Now they're planning a wedding. And I do believe this wedding is going to be produced by Mona Scott Young. Yes, I said it. I smell a wedding special. I really do. So, with that being said, we're going to move along to Kirk Frost, who used to live in Harlem, near my neighborhood. Yes, I said it. So, Mr. Kirk is talking about how he's living on his own. He lives in his own house. His house is lonely. And he's pretty sad because he wants to get back with his wife. He loves Rashida. Now, I'm going to say this. I've been watching Love and Hip Hop Atlanta since day one, when they first premiered. He has treated Rashida, his own wife of 20 years, like shit. First, in season 1, he talked about how she is to either focus on being a wife or mother or be a rapper because she was getting too old and it wasn't going to last for long. Then in season 2, when she got pregnant, he said, I want a paternity test. Okay? Then in season 3, after she had the baby, she revealed the results. She ain't cheat. She didn't cheat. He's the father. Season 4, he tried to play her with that Ashley chick. Now, the Ashley girl, they weren't really doing anything because Ashley had said, I'm a lesbian. This is my girlfriend. I don't want any man. I like women. Season 5, he really wasn't playing her so much because they opened up press. So he wasn't really playing. Like season 5, he was behaving the best. Season 6 comes this whole Jasmine situation. And he had to admit that he cheated, but he didn't like Jasmine, so to speak. Now we're in season 7. So he's on his own right now, living on his own, got his own place. And he misses Rashida, and he wants to come back home. And he says, it's going to be hard kind of convincing that because he messed up. So this is where we get to the scene where he meets up with Young Jock, Stevie J, BK Brasco, and the world-renowned producer Sean Garrett. And I say that with respect because I own a lot of the records that he produced. And that man is one heck of a talent. He really is. And it's a shame that we don't have a lot of R&B records out here, because that man's mark that he left on R&B is incredible. And I feel that what has happened to R&B is just tragic. It really is. So they're all having fun, and this is the boat that Jock owns, because last year he was living in the treehouse with the llamas, and now he's got his own boat, so he has upgraded. I'm not gonna clap, because he should have never lived in the treehouse in the first place. I thought that was pathetic, especially when he got a couple of coins to rub together. That was just sad. Moving along, Stevie J talks about how he's not dealing with Jocelyn anymore. She stressed him out to the point where now he is a vegan, and it is because of Jocelyn. Yes, they are co-parenting, but never again will they ever have sex again. I'm kind of side-eyeing that, not on Jocelyn's part, but on Stevie's part. So Brasco and Sean Garrett, they were hired to work on the Estelita project. Now, Stevie J, he had to keep it real and say, I've been working with this girl for 1 year, and I don't see really much improvement. And I find that maybe I'm wasting money investing in her, or maybe I could use them to work with another artist. And I do agree. And I'm going to say why in a couple of moments. So we get to Kirk. Kirk is on the boat, and they ask him, well, what you been up to? He been like, man, I've been dealing with this whole ZNA situation. Rashida, she kicked me out the house. I'm on my own, and I miss her and everything. And so he said, but I got something to tell y'all. And so they like, what? He said, well, I took the DNA test, and, it reveals that I am the father. And their mouths drop. But the big gag is that Rashida still don't know. Okay? So we're going to come back to them at the end of the episode. So we get to Erica Mena, So we get to Erica Mena. And how she likes to brag about Mena Mondays. And Mena Mondays was big on Love and Hip Hop New York. And she did bring that fire. She really did. And I thought she was good on Love and Hip Hop New York, especially the third season. She made that third season of Love and Hip Hop New York, which is why we still have Love and Hip Hop. Because when Chris C and Jimmy left, her spunk and her fiery rage is what was needed. Otherwise, I think the show would not have lasted. I really don't think it would have lasted. So she arrives off the jet that I believe was rented. I don't think she flew on that jet. I think that it was a prop. I think she got off the jet because it was evident, but I don't think she flew there on that jet to Atlanta. So she gets off, and she's excited about leaving the drama behind, not just in New York, but in California, because if you remember, she was also on the show Keeping Up with the Kardashians, where she used to work at the Dash store. And the girl, Courtney, was really mean to her. She really was nasty to her. Even though she wasn't the best employee, the way Courtney spoke to her, she didn't deserve that shit. I'm sorry. So she talks to Jazzy Faye, and she's meeting with him to work on some music. And Jazzy Faye's like, I heard about your temper up in New York. And so she's like, those days are far from behind. And so I feel that she's not going to be as fiery as she was on New York. I really don't think it. I think she's going to still have her fights, but the fights that they showed, I think that's all the fights that she's going to give. I don't think that she's going to be that hot and spicy like she was in New York, because LA is not her area. She's a New Yorker. And usually where you're from is where you're most comfortable with if you are that bitch. I'm just going to keep it real. If you're in an area where you don't have family or people or protection, you're not going to boss up so quickly. It's just the way things are. She never came off like she was the toughest person. she came off like she had a temper, but she's never come off like she was the toughest person. To me, I always found Jocelyn to be the one that was the most tough, and Mimi, but never her. Okay, so they leave, she goes into the, walks away with Jazzy Faye. And then we see Estelita. Okay, we see Tommy performing. Not performing, but we see Tommy at home. And she talks about how she got a pig that she had to smuggle through the airport, and she named the pig Gucci. And Gucci the pig is just a pig. I don't like pigs. I don't eat pork. I don't think pigs are cute. So I wasn't impressed by the pig. But she said that she thought it would be fly to be the only person in the block with a pig. And I think Tommy can pull this off. Now, we see Tommy's daughters, Havali and Samora. They have nice names, I have to say. And we also see her sister, Raisha and her brother Yanni. So I noticed that Samora and Raisha kind of look close in age. But then we find out that Samantha has 7 kids. So 3 of them is at the house and 4 of Tommy's siblings are missing. So Tommy wants to focus on her music. And she's happy that the charges between the whole Jocelyn situation from 2 years ago are over with. They're done. But there's a big problem. You see, she got a sister named Versace, who's 21. And Versace pressed charges against her last year over an issue that they had. And Tommy came to her job. And they were arguing. And they fought. Now, Versace and her, they don't talk because of it. But Samantha wants them to reunite and, be a family again. And Tommy's not in the mood for it because she's like, I just got over the Jocelyn situation. I'm not trying to deal with it. She was like, I helped to raise Versace and this is what she does to me. No, I'm not with it. But she decides to meet up with Versace. And so they have that take place. And I'm going to talk about that in a couple of moments. But now I'm going to jump back to Estelita. So Estelita performs at the Panamanian Independence Festival in Brooklyn, New York. And the performance, I'm going to say, it was whack. It was whack. Now, this is where I'm going to go into my analytical mode and become Miss Analytical. There were a lot of things wrong with that whole performance. That whole performance was wrong. Number 1, Stevie, being her manager, says that he did not know that she was performing. You're supposed to know every aspect of what your artist is doing. Whether they are not communicating with you or not, whether y'all got beef, she's supposed to tell you, hey, I'm performing. Second of all, you're supposed to be booking her shows. She's not supposed to be booking her own shows. You're supposed to be doing that for her. Okay? And yes, for her being Panamanian, this performance, of course, meant a lot to her because this is about her culture, and her community. And this is supposed to be Panamanian pride. She's supposed to be performing for her people. And you were supposed to take charge of your artists. So that right there, Stevie, I'm mad at you for that one. I really am. Now, I'm going to go and criticize Estelita. Regardless of how bad Stevie J is as a manager, every performance that you have, you're supposed to bring it because you never know if that one is going to be the big one that's going to get you noticed. I went to performing arts junior high school, okay? And I performed dance shows and I sung. And the one thing that was always instilled in us is that we got to perform our shows like it's our big break. Because you never know who's going to be in the audience that may look at you and say, hey, I have this show on TV and I'm looking for a couple of dancers. Or, hey, I'm a manager of a famous person and they're looking for some people to do background work. You never know. So that could have been her big break, where a person who was a scouting for talent, saying, hey, I want to use you as the voice for this movie or this show. You never know what opportunity could have happened for her. And Estelita blew it, especially in a big venue as a festival. She could have had somebody from her country that said, I want to produce your album. I want you to be on my show. I want you to do this on a Latin Telemundo, stuff like that. Univision. Like, it could have been so many opportunities for her that day. She should have gave that performance her all. Regardless of her issue with Stevie, the sound check, it could have been a problem with the sound, because she did say the music was off. But her movements could tell you that she was not together. It's like she didn't rehearse. It's like that part of the performance, you cannot blame that on Stevie J. That's on her. Now, her having to book her own gigs, yes, I blame him for that, because he's supposed to be her manager. He's her artist. But second of all, she should also have a manager besides Stevie J. If Stevie J is running this label, it's too much conflict with this whole Estelita thing with this girl. Over a year, and she's not together. I mean, Jocelyn wasn't even an artist when we first met her, and she was on it. She was on it in the studio. She was on it. That first episode when she was shaking her butt and everything, he was sitting in the back chair doing that little mouse face. She was on it, but Estelita isn't. So I'm going to say it's 50-50 on both of their parts, but that performance, I blame Estelita for that totally. Don't blame that for Stevie in terms of how she moved her song. Okay? And he even admitted, he said she didn't have the best voice, but she had the look. And he's even thinking about either switching her out for Erica Mena, but she don't know that yet until the end of the episode. So now we go into them meeting up with Spice dancing. And, they practice in their dance routines. And, I'm going to cut to the chase and say that her and Carly Red, they squashed their beef. And Carly Red was a big person to say, hey, I got something to get off my chest. And what it is that I'm happy that I get to tell you this in person. I ain't got no beef with you. And Estelita said, I don't have no beef with you. I never had beef with you. So they're cool. They squashed it. They could be cool. They could be friends, but they're no longer enemies. But Estelita tells them, about the performance, and Stevie ain't even being a hands-on manager. And Mimi going to take Estelita's side because Stevie J fucked Jocelyn and got Jocelyn pregnant. So she's going to take Estelita's side. Even if she's wrong, she's going to take Estelita's side just based on that solely. So, it wasn't nothing with that scene. It was like a cute, casual scene. So we go into Erica Mena meeting up with Stevie J. Very interesting. So Erica Mena says, she's happy to be working with Jazzy Faye, but Stevie always wanted to work with her, and he wanted her to be the first lady of Danger Zone Latina. That's a lie right there, Stevie, because remember, you was cool with Jocelyn, and you wanted Jocelyn to be the first face of Lady Danger Zone Latina. You never mentioned nothing about no Erica Mena, okay? Now, you could have said, last year I was considering her over Estelita. But don't say you always was, because remember, you was rocking with Jocelyn real hardcore, especially at season 3 and season 4. Okay? Y'all was rocking real hard. Okay? So, with that being in mind, they meet and they discuss that Stevie J knows about Estelita being cool with Erica at one time. And Erica mentions that she had a falling out with her. And Stevie tells her, well, I wanted to work with you before Estelita. And Erica's like, you can't play me, because I've been down this road before, i.e. rich dollars. And if you want to work with me, or if you want to no longer work with Estelita, you need to talk to her first. But don't ambush her and don't have me come in as if I'm taking over. So he's not really feeling that idea, but he gives it a go. So they're going to meet up, but this is now, we're getting to the most important part of the season premiere episode, and that's the meeting of Kirk and Rashida. So Kirk comes back to the house that he built, that it took him 2 years to build, starting at season 2, 2013 to 2014, season 3. Beautiful house. Beautiful house. I remember the party that they had. It was after she gave birth to the baby, Carter. And I'm going to say this. I've always liked Rashida. And I didn't like Kirk, but I liked Rashida and Kirk together. And I thought what Kirk did was stupid. But Kirk says that, Rashida says that Kirk doesn't deserve to be at the house. He doesn't deserve to be there. Now, Kirk says, I miss my wife, my kids, and my family. I miss being at home. And Rashida's like, I need to know what those results are. And she says something that I think is very important. She says, it's one thing if you just slept with her, but it's another thing if you got her pregnant. And then you bring in an innocent child into this situation. I can never, ever look at you the same. It can never be the same. So he tells her, I got some news to tell you. And the results are what we all knew what it was going to be, that he's the father. And she's just torn. And it's like she says, she feels that her gut has been punched. She feels that everything is over. What she thought of their marriage, she said she could never look at it the same. And she said, how are you going to tell your kids? They look up to you as a man and father. She says, I'm not surprised because I knew it was going to be a 50-50. But what's it going to be for our marriage? And so with that being said, she said, you're not coming back into this house. You not. You could forget about that idea. And I was so happy she said that. Because Kirk needs that. He needs the way he has treated her all these seasons. He needs that. So we get back to Estelita. So Estelita tells Stevie that he needs to step up his role as a manager. And then guess who walks in is Erica Mena. She comes to the meeting. Now, Estelita did not know that Erica was going to come. But of course, Erica knew about the meeting. But she told Stevie, don't make it look like I'm ambushing the girl. So Estelita's like, what you got planned? You bring in my former friend here? So she's like, listen here, Erica. Erica's like, listen here. First of all, I don't have no beef with you. I don't have no problem with you. Yes, he told me to meet up with you. But no, he was supposed to never make it look like I'm ambushing you, because that's not the case. And 2, I've been rooting for you behind the scenes. I've been wanting for you to work because I considered you my sister. And the fact that this relationship has fallen off is really sad, because we were cool at one time. And I thought that Erica, being a bigger person, that showed a lot of maturity on her part. Because, 5 years ago, she would have flipped it out. Let's keep it real. She would have flipped it out. But it has shown that she has matured. And I was happy to see that. So we get to Tommy. And Tommy meets up with her mother so that she could meet with Versace. This Versace girl, she gonna be interested. She's something else. Versace walks in, and Versace's got like this hood, kind of bougie sort of flair to her. And Versace sits down, and Samantha first says, I hate to see my daughters beefing like this. I don't really like seeing that. And Tommy says, after just getting over this old case with Jocelyn, I got this new case with my sister. So Versace says, I never called the cops on you when we had an argument. But Tommy tells her, but you didn't stop. but she didn't stop. And I thought that that was important to mention, because even if somebody don't call the cops on you, if the cops come and you have an argument, if you don't want to press charges, unless the state is one of those states where it doesn't matter, charges are going to be pressed regardless of what the victim says, because there are some states like that. The victim can say, I don't want to press charges. Like in New York State, certain levels of battery and assault, the victim has a right not to press charges. Because I've seen it. I don't know about the state of Georgia, but certain states, you as a victim can say, listen, I don't want to press charges. I just want to move off of the situation. But Versace let Tommy get arrested and she got charges against her. So Versace's like, you know what? I'm done. I'm walking away. And so that's when Tommy has her anger. She's in anger mode and she throws the cup at her. And it's funny because she says something funny. When Versace's getting ready to walk out the door, she was like, oh, we're raising our voice now? Oh, so now you're white? So you're white now? And I it really thought to me that there was a little sense of jealousy there, animosity with Tommy and Versace. I believe Versace may not be so much a college graduate, but she's got a lot of opportunities that Tommy didn't have. And there could be a sense of, there's a sense of animosity. And I feel as though, and this is just me, and I feel that there's animosity between her. And I'm going to say it with Tommy. She's too old to have that anger. She's too old. And she got grown kids. It's not like she got little kids. She got grown kids. And that's bad. That's really, really bad. And Versace just walked out like, you didn't hit me, bitch. You didn't hit me. I'm grown. You didn't hit me. But them three, it's going to be interesting with them this season. It really is. That's all I got to say about them. So afterwards, we see a woman walking down the mall. And the woman looks like a new cast member, but it's somebody from last year. Jasmine, officially Kirk's baby mother. Now, I got to say a lot about her outfit. I feel that Jasmine is trying to now be a cast member. If you looked at her attire, season 6, she dressed nice, but she was more of a girl, everyday girl. Somebody that was fashionable that in your hood, in your community, at the job or at school, but not somebody that was dressing more like a vixen. Like this year, she's wearing the wigs, the units. She's dressing like a video vixen. And I feel like she wants a spot permanently on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. And she can get it. She could get it now. Because now she got a storyline. So she shows up at press and Miss Charlene looks at her. And Jasmine says, hello, Miss Charlene. I'm Jasmine. And Miss Charlene says, I know exactly who you are. And she says, is Rashida around? And it ends like that. Now, she does say she doesn't care about being labeled a homewrecker or a hoe, because they already did that for her last year. So she's not going to fight over that. But she does care about one thing, and she wants her son's family to accept him. And I agree. Because the child is innocent. He didn't do a damn thing. Y'all two did that shit. Kirk is not innocent. It's not like you stole his sperm. Okay? 2 people had consensual sex and they made an innocent baby. Okay? And Kirk, you's a dirty dog for cheating on your wife. And Jasmine, you dirty because you knew he was married. It's not like he filed for divorce. You knew he was married. And that's my issue with Jasmine. And Jasmine will never be liked on the show because of it. Especially since Rashida's a fan favorite. It's not going to happen. You're not going to be liked. So, this is my summary of this episode. It was lukewarm. It was very lukewarm for a season premiere episode of a show that's been on for 7 seasons. I feel as though the show, without Jocelyn, it's going to be hard for Erica Mena to live up to that momentum. But I know they're doing that because they don't want to have any assaults, any fights on the show. They want it to be safe. But still, we're going to need some new cast members. I didn't mention Ciara because she's not interesting to me at all. Ciara is not. I think she's a smart businesswoman, but Shooter, it was not interesting to me last year. So I'm not going to really talk about Ciara this year, unless she's around the girls, unless she contributes to a conversation with another cast member. But I'm not going to do it. Unless it becomes real interesting with her, I'm not. I find Ciara to be boring. I really do. I really, really do. So, this whole season, is it going to be interesting, or is it going to be like Love and Hip Hop New York of this past season? I'm hoping that it can be like season 6. Season 6 was not bad, especially the end when Jocelyn went off. That was pretty funny, but I'm going to miss Jocelyn. I always liked Jocelyn from day one. I always liked her. I always did. You know, she was the breakout star. She not only made Atlanta what it is, but I gotta say, she really is the reason why we have all these spinoffs. Her labor on that show, and I did say labor with true intent, made that show what it is. If it wasn't for that girl being provocative, we wouldn't have all these Love and Hip Hops. We wouldn't have had Hollywood. We wouldn't have had Miami. She did her thing. But Jocelyn chose to leave the show. She never got fired. She chose to leave. And she chose to leave because she got tired of the exploitation. She got tired of Mona exploiting the people. And she was seeing that a lot of these situations, they were being made up. And I believe it. I believe it. And she was seeing that, you know, hey, like, you making black people look bad. And if you notice, you don't see Jocelyn doing crazy shit. Since she walked away from her, Jocelyn's good. I mean, she not making that Mona money. And I'm going to say this. She ain't going to be on no Love and Hip Hop Miami. Because she's not going to be second fiddle. If she wasn't the inaugural cast member of that series, she's not going to come there. She's not. She's not going to do it. So, my take on this season as a whole, it could have been better. But I'm looking forward to, the people I'm looking forward to seeing, honestly, believe it or not, is Estelita, Erica Mena. Mimi, I think she's kind of played out. I'm looking forward to Rashida and Kurt because, you know, it's a real storyline. Jasmine, the whole thing with Samantha, Versace, and Tommy. And that's pretty much it. I'm not really looking forward to anybody else. I really am not. And I say and a lot because that's how I'll get my thoughts together. And it is what it is. But as a whole, after seeing Love and Hip Hop Miami and how they started out with a bang and ended with a bang and that reunion was a bang, that was a very good season. They need to reevaluate who they hire as a cast member. They really need to. So, because other than that, that show is not going to last for long. And with that being said, I'm going to sign off. It's your girl, Miss Analytical. Thank you for watching my video on YouTube. And thank you for listening to this video on Spreaker.com. Please follow me and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that bell on YouTube. And follow me on Spreaker.com. Both titles are Miss Analytical. I'm signing out. Take care of yourselves. Have a blessed one.